London, 1858. The most powerful city on earth. The British Empire controlled a quarter of the world's land. Its parliament made decisions that shaped entire continents. And then summer came. A brutal, unrelenting heat wave. Temperatures hit 118 degrees Fahrenheit in direct sunlight. But the heat wasn't the problem. The problem was the Thames. 3.5 million people, almost no sewer system, and every single drop of human waste dumped straight into that river. The heat cooked it, and the smell that rose from the Thames was so overwhelming, so unbearable, that Parliament, the most powerful governing body in the world, shut down. Lawmakers soaked their curtains in acid. Judges rubbed vinegar into their mustaches just to breathe. The Times newspaper threatened to evacuate the city. They called it the Great Stink. And this one disgusting summer changed the history of human health forever. Today, we're going to talk about something you use every single day, but whose story you've probably never heard: the toilet. And buried inside this story is a secret that starts right in Pakistan. Over 4,000 years ago, most people assume the toilet is a modern invention, maybe 200 years old, maybe Victorian era. The truth is far more extraordinary. The story of the toilet begins 4,500 years ago, and it begins here, in the land that is now Pakistan, Mohenjo-Daro, located in what is today the Sindh province of Pakistan. This ancient city was one of the largest urban centers on Earth around 2500 BC. But here's what makes it truly remarkable. When archaeologists excavated this site in the 1920s, they found something that stunned the entire scientific world. Nearly every house in Mohenjo-Daro had its own private bathroom, its own private toilet, and its own connection to a city-wide underground drainage network. Not open ditches, not rivers. Underground, covered, built from precisely laid bricks. The main sewer running beneath the city was 1.5 meters deep and 91 centimeters wide. Individual drains from each home connected into larger public drains, which carried waste out of the city entirely. The city also had over 700 private wells, deliberately kept separate from the waste system, so drinking water would never be contaminated. Researchers have concluded that the Indus Valley civilization's drainage system was more advanced than any contemporary urban settlement in the world. More advanced than Egypt, more advanced than Mesopotamia. And here is the part that will genuinely stop you. Historians note that even today, many drainage systems across Pakistan and India still follow the same foundational model that was first built in Mohenjo-Daro 4,500 years ago. On the land that is now Pakistan, that is your heritage. Fast forward 1,000 years to ancient Rome. The Romans considered themselves the peak of civilization, and to be fair, their engineering was genuinely impressive. They built the Cloaca Maxima, one of the world's earliest major sewers, as far back as the 6th century BC. Their aqueducts carried fresh water across hundreds of miles, but their public toilets, long stone benches, holes carved side by side, no walls, no dividers, no privacy whatsoever. You sat next to complete strangers. You discussed business. You talked politics. You debated philosophy while doing what you came to do. And when you were finished, there was no toilet paper. Instead, they used something called a tersorium, a long stick, with a sea sponge attached to the end. And in most public latrines, that sponge was shared. One sponge for everyone in the room. Let that image sit for a moment. The people who built the Pantheon, who created Roman law, who engineered roads still in use today, shared a sponge on a stick. And then Rome fell, 476 AD, and with Rome went almost everything it had ever learned about sanitation. Europe was about to enter 1,000 years of darkness. The Middle Ages. In medieval Europe, the knowledge Rome had accumulated about drainage, water systems, and sanitation was essentially forgotten. Streets in cities like London became open sewers. The Thames became a dumping ground for everything: butcher waste, tannery chemicals, animal carcasses, and the raw sewage of hundreds of thousands of people. And if you were walking through a medieval city street, you'd hear a shout from above: "Gardyloo! a corrupted version of the French phrase meaning, "watch out for the water." It was the warning people gave before throwing the contents of their chamber pots directly out of the window and onto the street below. Some historians believe this is actually where the British word loo, meaning bathroom, originally comes from. In castles, the solution was slightly more sophisticated. Garderobes, stone seats built into the wall, dropped waste straight down the outside of the castle, sometimes into the moat, often just onto the ground, and nobody connected any of this to the constant presence of disease. Cholera, dysentery, typhoid. People didn't understand why they kept dying. They just accepted it as normal, because no one had yet figured out where the sickness was actually coming from. Here is where the story becomes genuinely tragic. Between 1831 and 1866, just 35 years, cholera killed approximately 40,000 people in London alone. London's first major outbreak in 1831, 6,536 dead. The second wave in 1848 to 1849, over 14,000 dead. The third epidemic in 1853 to 1854, more than 10,000 dead. And during all of this, what were the doctors saying? It's bad air, miasma theory, the belief that disease was caused by foul-smelling air rising from decaying matter. If it smells terrible, it causes illness. So the prescription was, carry flowers, burn incense, perfume your handkerchief. In 1846, Parliament passed a law actually encouraging people to flush their toilets more, to get waste out of homes and into the sewers. But those sewers emptied into the Thames, and people drank from the Thames. So every time someone followed this law and cleaned their home, they were pushing more contaminated water into the source that was killing their neighbors. There was one doctor, a physician named John Snow, who stood up and said, "This disease is waterborne. It's in the water, not the air. I have traced it. I have mapped it. Look at the data." The medical establishment laughed at him. It would take the worst smell in London's history to finally prove him right. June 1858. The heat wave arrives. Temperatures in direct sunlight reach 118 degrees Fahrenheit. The water level in the Thames drops, and 6 feet of compacted human waste, baked for weeks in the summer heat, rises to the surface along the riverbanks. Michael Faraday, one of the greatest scientists in history, visits the Thames. He drops pieces of white card into the water to test visibility. They disappear before they sink even 1 inch below the surface. He describes the river as an opaque pale brown fluid. The smell reaches Parliament. MPs soak their curtains in chloride of lime, a type of bleach. Sessions are cut short. Lawmakers press handkerchiefs over their faces and flee the building. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert cancel a pleasure cruise on the Thames because the smell is too severe. The Times declares it a crisis. The city is on the verge of paralysis. And then, in a moment of rare and decisive action, Parliament passes emergency legislation in just 18 days. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette is hired to do the impossible. Build a modern sewer system beneath a city of millions. Over 1,300 miles of underground sewers, completed over several years, at enormous expense. The system worked so well that Bazalgette accidentally future-proofed London for 5 million additional people beyond what the city had at the time. And in 1866, when the final cholera outbreak struck London, it was confined almost entirely to the East End, the one area not yet connected to Bazalgette's new sewers. John Snow had been right all along. Now, a quick mythology lesson. If I ask you who invented the toilet, most people will say one name, Thomas Crapper, and they're wrong. Here is what Thomas Crapper actually did. He was a successful plumber in Victorian London. He held 9 patents, including improvements to the ballcock, the mechanism inside your toilet tank that controls the flush. His company, T. Crapper and Company, was stamped on toilets across England. When American soldiers were stationed in England during World War I, they saw the name Crapper on every toilet they used. They started calling it the Crapper. They brought that word back to America, and it spread across the English-speaking world. But Crapper didn't invent it. He popularized and improved it. The actual flush toilet was invented in 1596 by a poet. Sir John Harington writer, wit, and godson of Queen Elizabeth I, designed a device he called the Ajax. It had a raised cistern, a valve, and used 7.5 gallons of water to flush waste into a cesspool below. He built one at his estate. He installed one for Queen Elizabeth when she visited. By most historical accounts, she used it, but the invention disappeared. Harrington had made so many enemies at court with his satirical writing that people dismissed his toilet as part of the joke. The flush toilet was invented in 1596 and then forgotten for nearly 200 years. Now, the real unsung hero of your bathroom, Alexander Cumming, 1775. He patented the S-shaped pipe beneath the toilet bowl. That S-trap holds water permanently in the bend, creating a seal that blocks sewer gases from rising back up into your home. It is the single reason your bathroom does not smell like a sewer right now. Almost nobody knows his name. Let me give you one final fact that reframes everything. People often debate which invention has saved the most human lives in history. Vaccines, antibiotics, modern surgery. The answer, by most public health measures, is sanitation. Research shows that proper sanitation infrastructure can reduce cholera transmission by up to 70%. Not medication, not vaccines. Clean water separation and waste management. In the 1830s, the infant mortality rate in British cities was roughly 50%. Parents expected to lose half their children before the age of 5. After Bazalgette's sewer system was completed, that number dropped dramatically. Not because of a new drug, because of pipes underground. The toilet didn't just change how we live, it determined who got to live. And today, right now, over 3.5 billion people on this planet still lack access to safe, clean sanitation. The diseases that killed tens of thousands in Victorian London are still killing people in 2024, just in different places, in communities that are still waiting for their version of what London finally built in 1858. The toilet is not a luxury, it is survival. Think about the full arc of this story. 4,500 years ago, in the land that is now Pakistan, someone looked at their city and asked, "Is there a better way to handle this?" And they built underground drains, covered brick sewers, private bathrooms in every home. Then Rome forgot it. Then Europe spent 1,000 years in darkness. Then a poet invented the flush toilet and the world laughed at him. Then 40,000 people died of cholera in London over 35 years. Then one summer smelled so bad that Parliament couldn't function. And then finally the world changed. That is the human pattern. We don't change until the problem becomes unbearable, until the smell reaches us directly, until it shuts down the room we're sitting in. But when we do change, we build something that lasts 4,000 years. From Mohenjo-Daro's covered brick drains to 1,300 miles of underground Victorian sewers, the story of the toilet is really the story of what we're willing to build for each other, not for ourselves, for the strangers who come after us. That is what civilization actually means. That's it for today's episode. I want to know, drop it in the comments. Did you know that the world's first recorded sewer system was built in what is now Pakistan? If this story surprised you, share it, because history like this deserves to be heard. And if you want more stories like this, the hidden histories behind the things we take for granted every single day, make sure you're subscribed to Bognice TV, because history is everywhere. You just have to know where to look. Bognice TV,